Look, here she comes.
Push me. How about me? Over here, I'll give you the top pop music. Well, how about me? I'll give you all news.
I'm beautiful music.
Ooh, push me. Sports, talk, weather, traffic.
Oh, no.
WMAL again.
Always push you. That's because at WMAL AM 63, I give them everything all you guys do, but with personalities. To make them laugh, smile, tell them what's happening, and keep them company all day long. They get it all from me.
He's playing with a whole dial.
You get it all on WMAL AM 63.
Okay, folks. Welcome to Dave TV for Friday, the 2nd of September, 2011. That was our good friend Rob Edgar posted that on my Facebook wall page from WMAL in the 1980s, back when the station was really great. It wasn't just a bunch of saps spouting righty propaganda. I don't know, man. You hear the same things on all the WMAL shows. You hear the same thing on Chris Plant. You hear the same thing on Limbaugh. You hear the same thing on Hannity. You hear the same thing with Levin. You hear just the same stuff all day. The same, almost like lockstep verbatim crap. You know, the same political view from mainly white guys. I don't know. And then they got the morning show, which I tell you, I like Brian Wilson and I do like Brian Neiman. Mary Catherine Ham, she has that. I don't know. She just has this annoying. She has these zest songs. She does these zest ads or zestfully. She sings them. I mean, just stupid. And then she can't say W. It's like WMAL, W, and Brian Wilson always has that Texas kind of WMAL, WWW. It's just I don't know. Yeah. Honestly, what do you listen to in the mornings? It's TOP, which is good for 15, 20 minutes, and then you start hearing the same thing over. You listen to MAL, which is good for 15, 20 minutes, and then you start hearing the same thing over. You listen to the Junkies, which they're good enough, but not great. The Junkies are okay. They're fine. They seem like really nice guys, but it's kind of like, we're good enough. We're not great. We're good enough. And it's like, And then you listen to Elliot, and I do like Elliot too, but that cackle. Oh. So then I try listening to Kirk and Mike, and I like Kirk and Mike a lot. I do. But that music, it's like every time that, deep, I don't know what, Def Leppard comes on, or Alice Cooper, and I'm going, I can't take this old ossified rock at, 8:35 in the morning. So then what do? I flip over to Sirius XM, and I'll listen to Howard, and oftentimes Howard's a rerun, some old show from, a year ago or something, and I don't know, man. There's just, maybe it's just me. Radio just isn't for me anymore. Oh, wow. Interesting stuff here. Oh, I'm falling apart. Well, the condo, here's the condo. I finally got the condo people. The condo association is going to repaint my ceiling after last week's water leaks from the roofers and all that. So that's cool. So a lot of noise around here, though. They're working on this fireplace stacks, and they're changing out the siding, and they're still working on the roofs. And it's like, I go out my front door, and there's like a guy just standing there with a paintbrush right on my door. And I'm like, what? Oh, what's the big news? The big news, and why am I standing up? Because I'm exercising. The big news today, the Washington Post is apparently going to shut down its suburban bureaus. Now, the Post, of course, has that big office in D.C. They used to have an office in Arlington, which was for their website, but in the last year or two, they merged them all together. So they're basically down there in downtown D.C. But they also have a bunch of suburban branches, suburban offices. Bureaus, Fairfax, Rockville, places like that. Loudoun County has one. I think PG County has one. There's one down, Prince William, and so they have, an office building where they have an office, and so their reporters then don't have to go all the way downtown. If you're at the Fairfax Bureau, you're based out of Fairfax, and you can just file your stories there and whatever. Well, the Post is, budget cutting like everything else, so those offices are going away, those local bureaus. Now, they're going to keep Annapolis, and they're going to keep Richmond, which are the two state houses, but they're cutting back on all the other bureaus. So Rockville, Fairfax, whatever, they're all going away. Interesting ombudsman piece today from Patrick Pexton in the Post, who's, he says They tell him that the coverage is still going to stay the same. But, you know, what does that mean? It means that reporters are either going to be working from their house, from their homes, from their cars, or they're going to be at Starbucks or something like that. You know, they're not going to be at a bureau anymore. So, you know, it can't mean anything but that they're going to be cutting back coverage. You know, you look, it's amazing to me when I go back and I look at Washington Posts from the 80s. Okay, and you just see how they blanket covered Washington media. I mean, you know, one of my good friends gave me this book, you know, and it's all these clips of Washington Post and Washington Star articles from Roger Pintadosi and Joe Brown and, you know, all these cool things where, you know, every little change in Washington radio or television, John Carmody, you know, people like that. And amazing stuff, profiles, and, you know, just, you know, you read the coverage that they had back then, and the Post just doesn't do that anymore. It just doesn't do it. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I started DCR TV back in the late 90s, was because the Post just wasn't covering local media anymore. Now, yes, something, you know, and it seems to me most of what the media coverage they have in the Post tends to be on the national side, you know, stories that tend to have a national flavor. You know, when all that consternation was going on at WMAL over the last couple of years with their morning show changing and all that, there was almost no coverage in the Post. Nothing. They just didn't care. It just was, you know, in the 80s, that would have been written up all the time. You know, it's like you just go through my front page and all the changes that are happening in Washington radio in a week. And, you know, Post just ignores it all, just completely ignores all of it. And I think more and more they're going to be doing that with local news. I think the Post, you know, with a shrinking print edition, and that is the local side of things, they're going to be pumping more and more money, more and more emphasis into that internet edition, the website, and that's going to be basically a national product. You know, it's like Lisa DeMarais. You know, her column has almost no local news in it anymore. You know, John Carmody, back when he penned the column in the Post before Lisa, it was all local stuff, you know, plus national stuff, you know. But, you know, Lisa, I don't even think, you know, from what I hear, Lisa isn't even in Washington most of the time. She's based in L.A. So, you know, and I'm not faulting Lisa. She does a good job covering the national TV scene and all that. But, you know, they just don't cover local stuff anymore. The Post doesn't, and I think you're going to see more and more become the national Post. You know, Tony Kornheiser jests on his show. He calls it the Wall Street Post because Marcus Broccoli, the new top editor over there, is from the Wall Street Journal. It's looking more and more like the Wall Street Journal. It's a national newspaper, you know, the Wall Street Post. It's looking more and more like a national news source, you know, and they realize that, hey, if we're going to get increased viewership, especially on the website where the future is, we're not going to get it from Hyattsville and Reston and Alexandria. We're going to get it from San Francisco and Beijing and Caracas. You know, that's what they're seeing. And, you know, that's the way things are going. So I think, you know, despite what they're saying about closing the local bureaus, I think that is a major retrenchment, as Patrick Pexton, the ombudsman today, said or feared. It's a retrenchment. It's basically saying, you know, goodbye. Now, somebody's, you know, blogs and other things will come in to step, you know, Reston Patch, for example, we have that here. We have some other blogs that come in, and they do, you know, we have that Reston Fairfax County Times, which is owned by the Post. So there isn't a complete dropping of the ball, but you know, it's like what happened out in Leesburg with Wage Radio. You know, it used to be a Leesburg radio station. It used to be Loudoun County Radio. Now it's just picks up a satellite feed of Radio China International. You know, there is no local radio station for Loudoun County anymore, and that's sad. You know, should the FCC be involved in that? Should the FCC say, hey, wait a minute now, you got this license, you better serve your community, and we don't mean just lip service, we mean real service, you know? Maybe the FCC ought to go back to saying to stations, they really ought to really start serving their communities, you know? It's sad, it really is. But then again, you know, that's things change, and any other big news happening these days? Congrats to Kirk McEwen over there at 105.9 The Edge. Just had a new baby boy, so congrats to him. What else? Count Gore. If you want to catch Count Gore, I love Count Gore. Mr. Dick Dizell did that show on Channel 20 for many years, the horror movie festival thingy there. He's on Arch Campbell's show this week. You missed the Thursday edition, but tonight at Friday at 8:30, Saturday 11:30 a.m. and 9 p.m. on News Channel 8. Check it out. Count Gore's really cool. I did a stint in his dungeon. I spent some time chained up in his dungeon, and I'll have to get that out for you and show that to you one of these days. It was a lot of fun. I sincerely enjoyed all the bondage and discipline I got from Mr. Duval. All right, folks, that's the big news. Confirmation: Angie Goff's going to 4. We knew that. She's going to be doing weekend news anchoring. You know, we told you that weeks ago. So there. All right, folks, that's the big news for this Friday, the 2nd of September 2011. Have a good weekend, and cut.